Welcome, my friends, to the Sage of Quay Radio Hour, your home for free and critical thinking, and I'm your host, Mike Williams. Tonight, my very special guest is Jolie Diane. Jolie is one of the hardest working anti-geoengineering activists that I know. What makes her activism so unique is her unrelenting drive and ability to take the issue of the Covert spraying program directly to the offices of both state and federal lawmakers, and challenging the legality of a program that is in clear violation of state and federal laws, sworn to protect the people and the environment. Jolie also explains how the Civilian Action Team, a collaborative effort between fellow geoengineering activists, is designed to raise lawmaker awareness worldwide. And during our conversation, she also explains why she's running for president as a write-in candidate. My conversation with Jolie was wide-ranging and very informative, and so without further ado, here's Jolie. Jolie, welcome to the show, and you and I are friends on Facebook, and you are one of the hardest working anti-geoengineering activists that I know. I wanted to get the audience to become more familiar with your work and with your activism and to get things started because it's really, I guess, your second time on the show. The first time you were on with Michael Murphy, and we'll talk a little bit about that later on in the show. But could you give us a little background on how you got into geoengineering, how you got into the activism?
Yeah, totally. Thanks, Mike. Great to be on the show. Like I said, I was a big fan for a long time and learned a lot from you and your guests. So thank you for that. My geoengineering started in 2006. I had a business as a pet caregiver and I did a lot of dog walking. And so I was outside a lot, and what I started noticing was the aircraft emissions. It just looked like a lot of pollution. And, like a lot of people in California, a lot of people in general, love the environment, don't want to see pollution. So I started calling my reps, Boxer and Feinstein, and Woolsey was the rep at the time. Now it's Huffman.
Yeah.
And I just started calling them and saying, hey, I see this pollution. What's going on? And they were all like, oh, it's just water vapor. The Air Force told us it's really okay, so relax. And that was in 2006. And I was like, well, water vapor evaporates, doesn't it? I mean, I don't have a degree in science, but, if that principle, that theory was true, then in the wintertime, and if you're walking down the street, then you would leave a big trail for miles. So I was like, maybe you don't know what water vapor is, but I know what water vapor is, and most people that I know do. So that was kind of the beginning. And then, over the years, like 2010 or so, I was still calling and even more distraught because I noticed that the agriculture was getting changed and the trees were starting to look not as healthy. And I didn't really, it was pollution. That's all I really knew about it.
Yeah.
But then, I guess like in 2011 or so, I discovered a video at my mom's house when I was visiting from Clifford Carnicom called Aerosol Crimes.
Yes.
And then I saw he had another film called Cloud Cover, Clifford Carnicom. And so he's like pretty much an expert, and I just had to stumble upon it over here at my mom's house, and then I was like, okay, so then I knew what it was. It was geoengineering. It was advanced science. I'm not a science person at all, but I was going to find out about it because they're polluting. And then I just couldn't believe it, that they're actually introducing these pollutants and these toxic substances into the air when we already had them banned on the ground. So I was just like, how is this happening? So then last year, about this time, I just couldn't take it anymore. I didn't think that California could make it another summer. I was really afraid and worried about my community and about my state and everybody's health and well-being. And out there, people are pretty positive, and they don't want to hear about, dude, what's going on in the sky? Why are they polluting so much? People don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
They're all just like, it's okay, we just got to go to work because we got to pay rent, and I don't know how I'm going to come up with the money to do this and that and the other thing. So everyone's distracted. So about a year ago, I put my stuff in storage and I says, you know what? I got to just go to where the policymakers are. They're the ones that are making these decisions. And when I call on the phone, they're not even returning my calls. Huffman stopped calling me. I was just calling him every day and being, just like the squeaky wheel, just hammering away. Come on, what are you doing? Come on, what are you doing? And so he was like, stop calling me. So
Good
I was
for you.
like, oh, you know what? I put my stuff in storage. It made me so mad that he did that.
Yeah.
So I put my stuff in storage. I drove across the country, and I got here about May 15th last year. And since then, I've just been like on the phones trying to figure out who to collaborate with, who's the activists that are really walking the talk, that are really doing some heavy lifting. And I found a lot of those people. And that ended up being like, wow, I found new friends. I found new family. Like, because all the people that didn't want to listen and didn't want to hear it and didn't want to look at it, well, here's this whole new group of people that are completely committed with, they're fully in the game. They're not even on the sidelines and going, oh, I think this and I think that. No, they're in the game. So that's, I was really fortunate in this last year to be able to connect with those people and get an education, like I said earlier, from just all these folks that have been doing the homework and doing the research, so that the rest of us could get like half a clue about what these programs are.
Well, now the last time you were on the show was back in December of 2015, and you were on with Michael Murphy, and we spoke about the progress you were making with lawmakers to get them to pay attention to geoengineering. Can you give us an update on how that's coming along?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, on Monday, we just had our first worldwide civilian action team action. And that was a collaboration with 14 countries. And after December, what I realized is that the reason that politics and our system is so corrupt and so bad is because it's missing the civilians. The only people that show up in those offices are the lobbyists, the ones that are on the take, ready to take those Congress people out to lunch, treat them nice, and get them to pass the bills they want to pass.
Right, throw bags of money at them. Yep.
That's right. That's how it works.
Yep.
So after going there, I love talking to people, and I'm a dog walker, right? So it's easy for me. People are like, oh, I hate that. No, for me, I'm just a people person. I want to go find out who's making these policies and how it works. So I have been blessed because every office we went to on Monday, we went to 50 offices because, this is a hammering process. Just because you call your congressperson once, don't expect them to call you back. The whole reason there's people answering the phones there is so they never have to talk with you. So you got to show up in the offices and you got to keep calling them because eventually it's gonna hook in. We're gonna get in there and we're gonna have the right center of gravity in there.
Are you noticing that they're paying attention, or are they giving you lip service?
Yeah,
what is your sense?
Actually, this is a new campaign because this new campaign is built on the fact that what I've been doing in Maryland here, when I got the test done, what we did is we started with the rain test, and people have been doing this for many, many years. And to me, it was the final kind of nail for the coffin that we're going to get rid of these SRM programs. Because what I was realizing is that, okay, got this third test, it has aluminum in it, that's like the footprint of SRMG. Okay, so that's in there and it can't be taken out. Okay, and then that presents many, many issues. It's a health and safety issue. I called all of our representatives here in Maryland, including the governor, the mayor of Baltimore, and I let them know and put them on notice that, hey, we have a health and safety issue here. We have aluminum coming down the precipitation. And I know that that's on them because their mission statement is to protect the environment and the well-being of Marylanders. It's on their mission statement. And sulfur dioxide and aluminum is named specifically in the EPA regulations. So, it's been over a course of like the last few years just gathering information from, as I said, all of these researchers and scientists that have just been doing the legwork and just putting the pieces together and then sending these to the offices. I think we're getting a lot of progress after this because I've been able to consult with various legal experts, and we're taking this as a health and safety issue. As per Rhode Island legislation that was introduced in February, H7578, the Climate Geoengineering Act of 2016. So Representative Justin Price and Representative Karen McBeth, bipartisan leadership, introduced that bill. And we've been able to have a lot of legwork, you see, a lot of, solid ground to stand on with that legislation that's pending, and the fact that we have this aluminum in our precipitation. So I took these two pieces and, started trying to figure out, well, how do we use this? How do we change the form of protest? Because the form of protest up to this point has been like, okay, we have pictures, and obviously anyone with eyes can see that there's some sort of program going on, or massive pollution.
Jolie, let me ask you a question now. These lawmakers now, so you called them, you contacted them, you said, I have these lab results, there's aluminum in the rainwater, in the precipitation.
SRMG footprint.
Okay, so what was their take on that? I mean, they have to have some level of, I would think, awareness.
Yeah.
That
great question.
Right, that this is the result of spraying. I mean, so yes. Were they on board with this, or did you have to educate them on that?
That's a great question. I'm so glad you asked. We have to educate them on that. Because again, remember that the only people that ever show up in these offices are people from the other team, the people that want geoengineering.
Yeah.
Okay, so from that respect, it's very good, and I plan to have an action every couple of weeks going in DC, because we have to show up in these offices. I love it. I mean, the people in there they're willing to listen. Again, they haven't even heard our side, and when they do, it's not even, it's like I'm trying to get people to think like a legal expert would think. Like, we're not going to stand shouting in the street. The form of protest has changed. We need to get in the office. So to get in the office, we have to have the correct information and get dressed up in our business attire.
Are you going in by yourself? Is this just you going in? Do you have any associates?
I've done both. I've gone in with other people, and I've gone by myself. I'm fine either way. Like I said, I'm a dog walker, so I like to talk to people. And I've had great success. Like, we had 50 office visits on Monday, just to follow up with that. And what we're making clear, because we have to bring in the UN distinction here, okay? These are UN programs, NATO programs. That's what it looks like, because they're violating pre-existing state and federal U.S. EPA code and safety protections just by existing, because what these protections already identify are aluminum oxide, sulfur dioxide. They already so when the geoengineers say, hey, we want to do this, we're going to introduce these particulates in the atmosphere, that just saying that is willful intent.
Yeah. That
brings a whole other layer to the litigation process. Besides the fact that we have the 2005 letter from the Office of Science and Technology stating that the administration had grave concerns about the liability issues involved with weather modification and geoengineering.
Have you spoken directly with lawmakers, or are you speaking with their staff at this point?
At this point, I've spoken with one of the members. I mean, this is over the period of last year. So
right.
I mean, the 50 visits on Monday was now it's been over 200 visits to Congress since last year. The thing is, now our foot is in the door here, and there's a little buzz around this. We can talk about the civilian action team and what it was intended to do, but see, it's on us now. What we've done is we've created the context, and there's many different wheels in motion here, but we've created the context for the public to go on offense. But we got to pick up the ball and roll with it. We need the calls in there and go, hey, yeah, we heard about the aluminum in the test. What's going on? We don't need anyone to be an expert or give any more than 30 seconds of their time. But to be honest with you, if we're going to save our republic, it's going to be because people take that 2 minutes to make the call to their rep and an email.
Yeah.
Because that's the civil action that's required. If we think that we're going to elect Bernie,
forget
whoever,
that. Yeah.
If you think you're going to elect somebody, then that's part of the problem.
Yeah.
Because that means that you're not fulfilling your responsibility to the republic during that time in between. And let's just look at the last 8 years. And really, Obama was saying, oh yeah, change and da-da-da. You know what? Where is everybody that voted for Obama?
Right.
Now, I love you guys, but let's look at this. Let's be really honest here. Obama is working for the UN and Wall Street, and he hasn't done a thing to increase the quality of life here for America.
Well, he hasn't done anything that he campaigned on. You're exactly right. He campaigned
It's
as
CIA op.
right. Exactly. That's right.
You
That's right.
know, and so if we're going to think that the system that is broken, like let's go back even for George Bush was appointed.
Right.
Okay, with that fact comes 9/11. With that fact comes the cover-up and how people in there now, Obama and Clinton's and Bush, Cheney, they're complicit in this cover-up and then that's the reason we're in Iraq, in Afghanistan, boots on the ground in Pakistan and Syria. Come on, this is bullshit. You know what? We should not be in any wars. They're bleeding us dry, and they invited the UN in. 37 states here in the United States have climate action plans. They are doing well. The UN is doing very well right now, and Obama is trashing the place as fast as he can. And that's another reason that I'm running for president, because I feel like, you know what? There's no one for me to vote for. I've looked at this there's no one for me to vote for. I want to close Guantanamo. I want everyone to have a guaranteed income. I want to stop the war machine and build us up and give us industries and get back to being in the world community. I don't want to be president, but there's no one for me to vote for. So if as an activist, we know that if you want something done, just go do it. Don't wait for someone to do it. We can't. I think Gandhi was like, politics is like a serpent. I don't like politics, but it's like a serpent. And so I have no choice but to wrestle the snake. What am I going to do? Look, we got mandatory vaccines coming in California. Okay, I love California, but what is happening? They're putting little plastic ball things in the reservoirs down there. They're allowing fracking. I mean, you know what? This country, like I said, Obama's just making so sure. Not just him. It was Bush too. I wanted to get rid of Bush, but we didn't want to impeach him. No, it can't be done because we were listening to the media. No, it doesn't have the votes. No, it can't be done. The same thing has happened in the media now. If anybody's like counting on the media to clue them in, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, what people don't realize is that the District of Columbia is a sovereign city-state. It is, in essence, and it's a foreign occupying force.
Right.
So it does not represent the people. It does not represent the republic. It is a system of commerce. It operates under admiralty law. So so you have this whole piece of it, which is very esoteric to a lot of people because they don't understand this. But if I could just take a second here, if you can just think of the District of Columbia, which is not part of the Republic of the United States, as a foreign country, think of it as like North Korea. The folks that are operating in this foreign city-state, the sovereign city-state of District of Columbia, are administering to and ruling and governing the people of the Republic of the United States. This is why, Jolie, nothing is getting done. It's because these people don't care about the Republic. The Republic is there for them to siphon off resources. It's to siphon off people's wealth. It's to take from people. Exactly. That's what it's there, so that they can take whatever it is they're stealing and they can apply it to whatever their agenda is. And their agenda is not an agenda which benefits humanity. A lot of people don't realize that the concept of a nation state is to take the resources of that nation state and invest back into the people. Right. That is what a country is supposed to be doing. Take its resources and invest and give back to the people of that nation. We have the exact opposite going on. The exact opposite. They're stealing from us. But let me ask you this. Do you find when you talk to these staffs and any of these lawmakers, are they all starting from ground zero? Do you have to give them geoengineering 101, or do you sense that some of these folks do indeed know what's going on?
I'm sure that they know what's going on some level. And here's where the danger is. And here's where the treason's being exposed. And this is why we need to call them on it as Americans. These are UN programs violating U.S. law.
Right.
Okay? That's because we're in the UN and we're in NATO. And that trumps U.S. law. So, hey, did anybody know that U.S. law is trumped? And so when geoengineering was banned at the UN in 2010 by 193 nations, the United States was not a signatory to that treaty. Why? Because, as we know from so many experts like Alana Freeland and Clifford Carnicom and Billy Hayes, that these programs, these military programs, depend on saturating the atmosphere with these particulates. So there we are. This is the military-industrial complex leading us to the UN, because that's just basically, that's the hub. That's where all the money goes in. This is, and this is a thousands years old, hundreds, thousands years old system, and it just looks the same way now. It's just a more evolved system. But what are they doing? They're stealing from the workers,
right,
to enrich themselves. Now, this is just the Pope and the Queen. This is just the modern day system of this. That's all. But it's hard for people to see the forest through the trees because the brainwashing is so good. And the fluoride is strong and the aluminum is in the air. It's a wonder that anyone is even walking around at all, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is amazing. And, like you said, you have the aluminum, you have the aspartame, you have the fluoride, you have the GMO foods, you have vaccines, you have flu shots. I mean, it's just a constant bombardment to deteriorate the human abilities and to break down that whole mind-body dynamic that we have. And what I was going to ask you now, going into this, because obviously the spraying is a gigantic piece of this, why are they spraying, Jolie? I mean, people will say, oh, is it just to modify the weather? Is it just so that, it rains here and it doesn't rain there? I mean, can you give us your perspective on what's going on? Why are they doing this?
You know what? That is a really good question, Mike. And I don't know that I would be able to give the answer. And actually, I'm coming from it at the angle of you're breaking the law. And I don't really care why you're doing it, if you're the Pope or you're the Queen or you're the U.S. Air Force. I have a problem with pollution, and we all do. We can't survive with it. So there's a million reasons. I think that you have your Bill Gates and your corporate America that is profiting on the misfortune of others. And what they're doing is, you got the Bill Gates that's invested, the deep pockets, invested in Monsanto. And Monsanto has the exhaust systems for aircrafts. They were working on that. There's paperwork that goes back with the U.S. Air Force to 1972. So they're involved in creating climate change and then profiting when it's hard for things to grow in aluminum soil.
Right.
And the air is covered, the atmosphere is covered with particulates. I mean, they're putting this program into place. I mean, Al Gore, perfect example of a corporate capitalist, disaster capitalist. He helped create these programs because, all this, I think it's very much, as I've learned, had no idea, but what it seems to be is the UN system of governance coming in via climate change, /AKA global warming. And these are, there's no doubt that there is significant climate change. Global warming, questionable. That sounds more like advertising to me. But the whole thing is they're basing this on this assumption and convincing everyone somehow that the breath that they're breathing out is a pollutant.
Right, CO2, yeah. It's man's fault. This all originated, and you know this, out of the Club of Rome.
Yeah.
Decades ago, they always turn it back on the human. You're the reason why this is happening. And people sit there like, okay.
Yeah. No, it's not your fault. I'm here to tell you. We're here to tell you guys, it's not your fault. It's the geoengineering was designed. I had a really awesome article that I've clipped out from the New York Times I found from 1983, and the EPA makes this announcement okay, everybody, be careful because in 30 years from now, we're going to have us some climate change. And they use the same language. They're like, oh, carbon. We have a problem with greenhouse gases. They use the same language, because they programmed it. And this is the thing that we know. I mean, it's social programming. And, I look at a lot of this as sort of being an athlete too. We're in a game here where it's not a game, it's life and death. But if you approach things as our culture should, sports, the other team's going to be bringing it. Okay, right. So we know they're bringing the geoengineering and they're bringing the GMOs and they're trying to get us down. They want to overcome us. They're trying to overpower us. But what do we have? I mean, that's where I'm trying to go. friendly people. We're creative. We're intelligent. We can work together. These people are asses. Are we going to let them get away with this? You know, what can we do? And so that's what I sort of try to shift gears. Like, okay, we know what they're doing, but if you're a competitor, what are you going to do? Where can you find like the open space to be creative and make something happen and change it up? Don't just let them come after you. Don't just let them fulfill their, wishes. I mean, they don't want us to be happy. So every day we should make about being happy. Yeah, they don't want us to get together and unite. So every day should be about, let's get together and unite. Let's do everything we can that is the opposite of what the machine wants us to do. And they do want us to lay down and die right now. So
Yeah.
F that. You know what? F that. Let's make it hard for them. Let's not make it easy. Don't get your guns out. We don't need guns. Let's get in those offices, in these congressional offices, and demand that they start working for us. If you show up in your representative's office, they are mandated to serve your wishes. But you can't go in there screaming at them. You got to go in there and say, look, this is what Rhode Island's doing to protect health and safety. I want my state to do this. Look at all the asthma in my local school. Look at these rain tests that I'm bringing to you. We know the SRMG is in our precipitation. Therefore, we know the programs are active. Hello? Okay, so this is the disconnect because these are UN programs. Okay, well, it's still important for us to get in the offices, but you see the disconnect. Obama has us, as Clinton did, as George Bush did. They have us allied with the UN principles of sovereignty. And this is where the treason has occurred. There was a coup. Our representatives mean well, and they will do our wishes. They will do our will, but it won't be without us. We need to get in the offices. We need to let them know what's going on.
Well, there needs to be a counter discussion. This is the point you're on. In other words, they will hopefully heed to the will of the people, but the will of the people has to be in their office.
It has to be.
Otherwise, what's going to happen is they're just going to sit there and it's just going to be lobbyists talking to them. There's going to be just tons of money thrown at them. And if you don't know any better, if you're sitting there, a lot of people think, as an example, Jolie, that a lot of these representatives that they're all knowing, that they're very aware of everything it goes on in the world. It's not true. I mean, many of these people are just people like you and I.
Yeah.
So unless they are educated on this stuff, and the problem is sometimes this educational process takes time because, as you know, I mean, just speaking to the average Joe or average Jane in the street and you start talking to them about chemtrails and geoengineering and everything else, they look at you like like you're crazy. They don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So there is a breaking in period where you have to keep at them to make sure that they start to get this.
Yes.
But they have to have that counter discussion. They have to have the resistance come into the office and say, hey, look, now wait a minute here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay?
And that's a good point.
Right, because if you don't have that, what's going to happen is they're just going to go along for the ride.
Right.
They're going to be fat, dumb, and happy sitting in their office, taking the money, voting the way these guys are telling them to vote, because these lobbyists come in and what they're telling them is, look, this is the right thing to do, okay? Mm-hmm. Trust us. This is the right. Oh, and by the way, we already have the legislation written. It's right here.
That's right.
We did all your hard work for you. You don't have to do anything. Just sign here. Just agree, and everything will be good. There's nobody coming in saying, don't sign that. Everything is not good. Here is the other side of the story.
Right.
But this is what you're doing, which is unbelievable work.
Well, it's wonderful. And as I said, I'm a dog walker, so I enjoy talking to people, especially young people in these offices who are open to what we're saying. And we had 50 meetings on, just quick meetings going in there to introduce people to the civilian action team worldwide, what we're trying to do with geoengineering. And they were interested. And guess what? Because the thing about it is I never use the term chemtrails because I spoke many, many hours with Rosalind Peterson and Clifford Carnicom and Kate Willens and Dane Wigington and Michael J. Murphy. Lots of people who have, we want to take this to the next level. And if you're trying to go into a court of law and use court admissible terms, you cannot use that term chemtrail, even though it's accurate. And it's true. So for what I'm doing, I go in there and I'm trying to get people to hook into the science, because if you follow, just even a little bit, solar radiation management, stratospheric aerosol geoengineering, carbon sequestration, climate engineering, climate intervention, if you go to these scientific terms, then there's no debunking. There is no counter discussion to that, you see, because when you direct people to the accurate information, I think this is one of the big hurdles for people to connect with the accurate information, which would be like, I would recommend everybody, if you're really new to this, go look up Rosalind Peterson, and her website is www.agriculturedefensecoalition.org. And she's done so much heavy lifting for us. It's unbelievable. She has been just an amazing person getting the correct information out there. Just go to that website. She has weather modification. She has geoengineering. There's so much to learn about this science that you can't assess it in 10 minutes. And it's funny because people will call me up or write me and be like, hey, I just looked on the internet and I saw that they're not doing these SRM programs, so I don't really know if you know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
After 5 minutes on the internet, I'm like, well, after 10 years on the internet, I compiled this information. If you would be so kind as just to completely review it before getting back with me, I'd appreciate it. Because, again, it's not a question of if they're doing it.
Right.
Okay? And this is, I think, the sad thing and one of the biggest obstacles is that we've been trained not to trust our own eyes on this one.
That's right.
And that's the first skill of science, is observation. And further, science is an ongoing investigation. So if anyone tries to tell you that the science is decided, then that's not science, that's religion. And they are confused about that because science is a process that's ongoing, and you're always encouraging people to try to disprove you because that's good science. You want people to disprove you. But if you're telling people, no, the science is decided and there's global warming and there's 3 degrees and we got to do this, that's just nonsense.
Yeah, it's all
utter nonsense.
Yeah, you're a dumbbell. We have experts that look at this stuff. Listen to the expert dumbbell. It's like a whole priest class,
right.
that was supposed to worship and just listen to and just fall in line. But I wanted to just circle back to one thing, because something that you said earlier on that was very important. I had asked a question about why are they doing this, and you said, hey, essentially I'm paraphrasing now what you said. Hey, Mike, you know what? I don't really care. I care, but the more important issue is this: they are polluting the skies. And what I'm really concerned about, or my main drive to do this, is they do not have my consent to do this.
Yes.
Right? Did I sum that up correctly?
That was a perfect summation.
That's great. I mean, basically, because we can talk about the motivation till the cows come home, right?
Yeah,
we
I
can
think
flog
it's a
each other
distraction.
and have that debate, why are they doing this and everything else. But at the end of the day, it's very simple. Okay, fine. We can have that discussion for a rainy day. You don't have my consent to spray my air. Okay, you don't have my consent to poison me. So there you go. We're going to start from there, and then we can have those other debates sometime down the line. But
yeah, I think it's established that what is in these rain tests. Yeah. And again, every time it rains or anytime it snows, there's an opportunity, because we're pulling a Monsanto essentially. We're changing the argument. It's no longer we're trying to prove they're doing geoengineering. Let them prove now that they're not. We're finding the SRMG footprint in our precipitation. Yeah. End of story. So we have these tests coming up, prove they're not doing it. And so we take it to we went to the Maryland Department of the Environment a couple weeks ago because, this is on them now. The state is incumbent to protect the environment and the well-being of the citizens that live there. End of story. That is on them. It's not on us to prove there's geoengineering. We've done it. Here's the test. Hey, we're saying, deal with this. Okay, so we went to the office the other day, a couple weeks ago, and, we had the whole office staff of the deputy governor of the Department of the Environment, and they were very nice people, but they were very clueless people. And beyond that, you see the compartmentalization of the government organizing apparatus in motion because they don't know what geoengineering is. They don't have any testing going on for it. They don't have money to get any testing done, and therefore, there's really nothing that they can do. It's their sort of approach, and I was like, well, hang on a second, because your mission statement does say Department of the Environment. Correct me if I'm wrong, and then I just handed them their own definition, which is to protect the environment and the well-being of Marylanders. That's pretty clear. And I said, so actually this is on you. And I have been consulting with the legal team, over the last year or so, and we're going to go with this health and safety issue part. I mean, it is on them to protect our health and safety. And I don't have to prove that it's geoengineering or anything else. I just have to say, look, this aluminum is coming up every single time. And guess what? I called the school nurse down the street, and it correlates with the degree of the level of aluminum we have here and the level of kids with asthma and the tree death. It all correlates. So it's like, again, these are NATO programs, and that's where we're blowing the whistle. We're getting in the faces of our legislators because we want them to weigh in now. It's their time. And it's not their fault that it's been compartmentalized, but they have families too, and they're breathers too. And they were very much interested in what we were saying on Monday, and we just have to keep hammering.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. It takes time. It's like training people. It's like training animals. It's like, what? You hear it over and over and over again. And I'm just repeating the process that Bernays uses, one of the founders of the current system of propaganda.
Yeah.
And that's what they do. It's a psyop.
Yeah.
And that's what we have to do is realize that, well, that's going on, and what's the truth?
Now, Jolie, what you mentioned the civilian action team. Could you explain that a little bit more? What is that?
Yeah, the Worldwide Civilian Action Team is a group that was founded by a couple of us. Got to my shout out to my friend Olga Rafa from the UK and Alexandra May Hunter here from the USA. And anyway, Olga and I had been talking over the past several weeks. She was very involved with the UK directive, and she's just been nonstop, awesome geoengineering activist in the UK. And we've just been trying to collaborate, and we just throwing back and forth ideas, and we finally thought, wouldn't it be great on Facebook if there was like a page people could go to, and beyond, posting the pictures, which is very important, and, documenting what's happening, to be able to, go and call their legislators and, know the numbers to call, and then, maybe have, a couple sentences of PowerPoints. And then, bam, we'd have, those same 5,000 people that are on, in the morning there on Facebook could just make this action. And so that was the kind of the idea behind Worldwide Civilian Action Team. We were really fortunate to work with Dominic Murama from Canada. He was the one that designed our logo, and which is awesome. He does also a lot of great graphic designs for Mike Murphy's Unconventional Gray with us. So we love Dominic, and he was actually super into it, and he did 6 hours of research, because originally we thought it would be citizen action team. And Dominic did a lot of research and found out, we should use the term civilian action team because it really applies more to our role here, because we're in a war theater. We're, like it or not, the world's at war, and our government is pretty much responsible for that. And as civilians, that's our only power.
That was very astute of him.
I thought a brilliant move. And just a heck of a nice guy. I mean, we've had long discussions, and another one of the reasons that, you just meet people on Facebook and stuff, and that's been one of the blessings. Just know that there's people that are just walking the talk with you, even though you can't see them. They're in Canada, they're in the UK, they're in Brazil.
Well, what is the purpose and mission of the team? What are they supposed to be doing?
Well, what we do is we are just trying to become the part of the new protest movement. And part of that is what the establishment would like is for everyone to, go buy guns and try to take on the government. And, just looking at that model, it's not an effective form of protest because, if you've been out in the streets, which I have since 2003, I don't want to go against the police. They're dressed for a riot and they want to kill you. They hate you. This is the UN. There isn't, I used to go protest before Obama, and it wasn't nice, but after Obama, the black shirts showed up. And then it was old people and young people and just regular people holding signs getting the shit kicked out of them.
Yeah.
You know what? That's ineffective. We can't fight that, people. So what I said is, look what happened in Egypt. You had all the people out there, but why didn't it work? Because they weren't in the offices. So what I'm saying is, look, the thousands and thousands of people who are hardworking and want to change, forget about getting in the street. I mean, it's important and it's fun and it feels good, but we need the next step, which is in those offices dictating our demands in an intelligent way, done the homework, done the research, and make it easy for these people to sign the legislation that we want. If they don't see the legislation that we want, because here's what Governor Tablada said, Deputy Governor Tablada from Maryland. He said, look, he thanked me. He doesn't know. It's compartmentalization 101. He says, if that legislation was on my desk right now, I'd sign it. About the one from Rhode Island, okay? So that puts the work back on me, because I'm going to make sure that he gets that legislation to sign. He wants to sign it, but he's not going to do the legwork, you see? Because that's not how government works. The government works now because the lobbyists are in there, like you said, in the offices, taking these people out to lunch, telling them how nice they look, asking them about their family, asking them if they want these, nice things. You know what?
Writing the legislation.
People, writing the legislation. You know what? Okay, so it's on us. And that's why I feel so optimistic about this approach with civilian action team, because I said, let's take those same demonstrators, those same protesters with the love in their hearts and dressed up in their nice outfits, and you know what? Researched, that you've done your homework and you can identify what these programs are. There's plenty of people who have done the legwork. You need to spend the time learning the material. It's taken me years to wrap my mind around this. I still feel like I don't know anything, really. I'm just trying to understand it and how it all works together, but it's advanced science, okay? And that's why people don't get it. And that's why the deer in the headlights, because it's advanced science and technology. You don't get it. It's way over your head. You don't get it. I don't get it. But the thing is, the lobbyists at the military-industrial complex are in those offices saying, this is a good idea. And here's these commodities that we can make over here on Wall Street. Look, you can get a nice little fat paycheck over here. This would be good for you.
Or a job afterwards, right, in the private sector. So that we have revolving door, public versus private sector. And, we can see that with Monsanto. We can see that with the banks, where it's just a revolving door of employment. So I'll scratch your back if you scratch mine, and we'll all be one big happy family. So this is how it works. Well, let me ask you, Jolie, now, I think this question is related to you having to go in and educate the staffs of the lawmakers and the lawmakers themselves. So what about if we talk about the biggest obstacle in getting people in general to wake up and become aware of the aerosol spraying program? What gets in the way? What keeps people from seeing the obvious?
Well, I think we've been trained not to trust ourselves. That's deliberate. And what it says to me, because it's people that I love that are very intelligent, that I admire and respect, not able to see this, it just says that they want to trust someone else's expert opinion rather than their God-given gifts of observation and heart intelligence. Okay, and that's deliberate. I mean, the media is masterful. It's an art form designed to manipulate us to give away our power. Has it done that? Yeah, I think pretty effectively.
Yeah, so this goes back to what we were saying before about experts, talking heads, and pundits, right?
Yeah, it's for that. It's for you to give away your power and say, you know what? You're right. I probably don't know what's best for me, and I probably don't know what's best, and so it's better that these politicians and these experts just decide for me. People
are so preoccupied with trying to keep their nose above the water level in life, right? So
I think that's actually key. And plus, people are generally decent, so they would never consider that these programs would be going on, because what are they doing? They're following the rules. They're trying to take care of themselves and their families and just make ends meet. You can't blame it on people. That's why it pisses me off so much when I hear this nonsense about that climate change is because of you and because of me and because my community is working too much.
It's because we breathe.
Too much breathing, people. Breathers have to cut back on that a little bit.
It's insane when you think about it, right? It's totally insane.
Mike, they've convinced people they've been able to convince people with clever
Your
marketing
carbon footprint.
that carbon dioxide is a pollutant.
Yeah.
And that, look at the trees. None of the trees need carbon dioxide, and some geoengineering programs like carbon sequestration, for example. What we're talking about is intervention into the Earth's natural systems and processes. So if this has been happening, let's say, over the last 50 years, 60 years intensely, is it any wonder that there's been, severe shifts and radical shifts and changes? And I would have to say that this is by design. There's no other way to look at it. If you, read the Weather is a Force Multiplier, written in 1996.
Right.
Air Force document, and then you just go back and take a look at some patents and some, the Army behavior of aerosol clouds in cities. That was like 1950s from Stanford. And the military provides an unlimited budget for these major universities to do their testing.
Well, I have a video on my alternate YouTube channel, which is declassified naval footage from 1952 that talks about the benefit of aerosol spraying as a biological weapon. That was over 60 years ago. Take a look at what they're talking about there. Okay?
Yeah. Do you think that they're just not going to do that? And actually, Mike, this is the thing. They know full well that these programs are going on. And like I was saying earlier, there was a document that we got a hold of from 2005. Let me pull this up. And so, because people need to know, I mean, not only was geoengineering already banned in 2010, but the United States just chose not to comply. But it's, here, let me just pull this up.
Yeah, go ahead.
The U.S. government totally knows about these programs, and they had very serious reservations about them in 2005 and prior, but this particular letter is a smoking gun, which we have up, I put up a couple places. Let me get my other glasses out here.
You have older eyesight, do you?
Well, you know what?
I do.
I'm telling you, it's like, why is this getting so fuzzy? Oh, put on the glasses there. That's better. This document is from December 2005. And Rosalind Peterson was actually doing a lot of lobbying and advocacy to stop geoengineering. She was in those offices. She was working with Mike Thompson. They know full well this is happening. So I'm just going to read a little bit out of this letter, but this was actually a letter to Senator Hutchinson, who was trying to get the Weather Modification Research and Development Policy Authorization Act of 2005.
Was this Kay Hutchinson?
Yes.
Okay.
The Honorable Kay Bailey Hutchinson. This
Right.
was to her. And basically, here, I'll go ahead and read some of the letter. Let's see. The administration respectfully requests that you defer further consideration of the bill pending the outcome of an interagency discussion of these issues that the Office of Science and Technology Policy would coordinate with the Department of Justice on legal issues, with the Department of State on foreign policy implications, with the Department of Defense and State on national security implications, and with pertinent research agencies to consider the reason the U.S. government previously halted its work in this area. At the conclusion of this review, the administration would report back to you on the results of the discussion, so you are fully apprised of all possible issues associated with authorizing a new federal program on this topic. And then here's the main part. Specifically, the administration believes concerns in the following areas must be better understood: local, political, and legal ramifications. Because small-scale weather modification, e.g. cloud seeding, may promote rain in one area to the detriment of another, weather modification could result in interstate, including Indian tribe, litigation or private citizen litigation against the modification programs. The legal and liability issues pertaining to weather modification and the potential adverse consequences on life, property, and water resource availability resulting from weather modification activities must be considered fully before the U.S. government could take responsibility for this new research program. And that's all I'm going to read of that. And that kind of says it all to me. They know.
Yeah.
Okay, but these are NATO programs as well. And this is the slippery slope. Okay. Who is responsible for protecting our airspace? Because these programs are violating, again, our specific state codes that protect our health and safety. And this is why it's so important to weigh in with our reps right now. Yeah, they know. Okay, yeah, some of them might be on the take. But let's give them the opportunity and keep banging down the door on this thing, because we can change the direction of this. I'm absolutely certain of it. But we need to approach it as a litigator would, because what are they afraid of? Private citizen litigation.
Yeah, that's what I picked up on. They're very afraid of being sued.
That is a jugular. That is a jugular I am going for, and our team should be going for, because, and our approach should mirror that. Okay, they don't want to see a lawyer in their office. Well, how many looking people can we get in the office?
That letter tells me that they are very aware that the evidence is there.
Indeed.
Right? Because they would not write a letter that way if they thought that the evidence was elusive.
Yes.
Or not easily obtained.
Yes.
So what that letter is saying is, look, we're going to get caught with our pants around our ankles, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because people are going to figure this out. The evidence is out there, and we're going to have a gigantic problem on our hands. So that letter, based upon what you read, is a smoking gun.
It is. It is. And every member that we've visited so far has a copy of that letter. Here's what's going on and why. Again, civilian action. Okay, civil action. We need to get in these offices. We want policy change. What do we want? What are our demands? Okay, we can get our demands met, which is stop this geoengineering. And further from that, what is the UN doing in this country? Let's go back to the climate action plans, because this is the UN governance locally. And as I said, Maryland and California already have it. We can go check your state. It's called Climate Action Plan. And you could go to the UN.org, or they probably have it at your state. Just look CAP, CAPS, in your state. And this is what we really have to put the pieces together, because you got these NATO UN programs happening, spraying us, da-da-da. Okay, that's going on. We got the rain tests. We already know it's happening. But these programs are violating pre-existing state and federal law. So that's what we have to do, is we have to make sure that we get our legislators knowing, wait, we don't want to lose our ability to legislate here, because that's what we said to them on Monday, and that's what we said to them when we went in December. We said, look, what are they doing over at the UN? First of all, our Supreme Court told Obama in January, no, you cannot give one dime of American taxpayer money to this UN slush fund. They said, no, you cannot do that. The Supreme Court said no, and Obama's like, well, whatever.
Yeah.
So this is what I'm saying to people. Please wake up.
Yeah.
Let's not wait for an election. Look at this guy. He's trashing the place as fast as possible.
Yeah, he has scorched earth. Scorched earth is what he's doing. On his way out, he's going to go out in a blaze of glory.
Yeah, man. I'm saying, look, let's right now, let's get him out of office right now. We got to talk impeachment. What is everybody talking about an election for? Election's going to be meaningless. They're poisoning us every single day. Yeah. So it's like, look, we can change the outcome of this. I am fully in belief of that. I have no doubt in my mind, but we have to get in the game. You can't stand on the side and go, I wonder if they're doing this. I mean, they said they're not. We have to get off the fence, get in the game, and stop commentary and get in there and apply ourselves, go in the offices. I mean, I'm not really, I like talking to people, but this is new to me too. I mean, I just am kind of figuring it out as I go along, and I just know the squeaky wheel principle. Like, if they don't, let's be annoying. It's like a mosquito. Like, you don't think you can be effective? Oh, really? Well, think of a mosquito at night. Oh, yeah, you can. You can be one little mosquito and you can make life just really unpleasant for people in a nice way.
Yeah, and the question to the lawmakers really is, look, do you want to be relevant or do you want to be window dressing?
Yeah. This is like Flint, Mike. Is really what I'm doing, what I'm trying to do, what we're trying to do is like say, look, you know this since I filed a federal EPA report on March 8th. And I tied all of the Maryland legislators into that report because I said that they had been notified. So now it's like Flint, like every single day and every rain test that comes in there that goes by that they're not doing something, that's on them. Because I said we're putting the burden on them. It's not on us to prove geoengineering or anything like that. It's like prove it's not. This is the footprint. Prove it's not. Come on. You can't do it. It's impossible. And then it's going to push the envelope to, okay, who is responsible for protecting our airspace? So we have talked to the offices of the Attorney General here in Maryland. They have heard from us. We're waiting to hear back from them. They have heard from us because it is incumbent upon the state to protect the environment and the well-being of the people there. End of story. So, as so many of our activist brothers and sisters have done, they have just been hammering on these agencies and, hammering on our representatives, and we need to continue to do so because we're making progress. And that's the only way. That's the only way we're going to do it. And if we put enough pressure, we will change the outcome. But stick with the science. Talk about things with people, and direct them to the right information so that they can go research for themselves. We're not trying to tell anybody what to think, but we're just saying, please use your God-given gifts. Look with a critical eye of solar radiation management, geoengineering. I mean, you don't think they'll do it? Well, listen to David Keith. It's not my fault he wrote this. He's trying to sell this program.
Yeah, he talks about it all the time. Right.
Go listen to his tutorial, the 4-minute tutorial on aerosol geoengineering with aluminum.
That's his purpose in life. Yeah.
That's what he does. And Caldera. You know what? I mean, that's what they do. They're profiting by their research, which is being funded by the military, black budget. So you bet they don't care if they're complying with environmental laws. They've been able to sidestep because they're with the military, and the military has been excused. And that's another thing I'm saying with my candidacy, with the presidential thing. Look we cannot escape calling out the military. They're the biggest polluters on the planet. Like, I know I've said it over and over, but it's the pollution. I don't care what kind of pollution it is. It doesn't matter if you're the Pope or the Queen or the military. You can't pollute. I don't care what it is. These people have a track record, and that's what we have to stop. We have to stop the runaway train. And it's not going to stop without us. And we can do it, but we have to, like I said, we have to get in the game. There's no more time for people standing on the sidelines and going, if you have kids, if you have family, if you have pets, if you have anything in life that you love, even if it's playing soccer, if there's anything, you got to stand up for it because the human beings are what's needed right now. This is science and technology in the military industry, and they got the wheel. And they got the keys.
And Jolie, your commentary goes out to all those folks. Now, I'm going to say this. I don't want you to say this. I'm going to say this. There's a lot of people that they're concerned about geoengineering and chemtrails and the spraying program, however you want to describe it. But the extent of their activism is hitting the like button on Facebook. I see a lot of people sitting there thinking that because they hit the like button or they wrote a little comment under a picture or a video that they've done their job. You haven't done your job. Okay, your job is exactly what Jolie is saying. You have to step up to the plate and you have to swing the bat. Mm-hmm. You have to do it. If you're taking this seriously, then you have to do it. And I know a lot of folks are probably going to be taken back by that. Well, my life's busy and I can't. Look, we all have busy lives. We all have busy lives.
Yeah, and I would like to add to that because with that in mind, what we've tried to do with the civilian action team, and then I posted out on like chemtrails and just different sites, is just like, look, we're not asking much of your life. Just take 2 minutes. Can you take 2 minutes?
Right.
Is that too much? Because that's all you need to do. They just need to hear your voice. You do not have to say, look, please don't talk more than 30 seconds when you call the offices because they don't have an opinion. They don't care. They're just taking notes of who calls about what. They have no knowledge. They have no agenda. they have no clue about anything. They're just there so that the representatives don't have to talk to you. And so if you politely go and you say, look at, we're supporting H 7578 style legislation for California, for Maryland, or for Idaho, or for wherever, for the health and safety, we know that there's the aluminum SRMG footprint in our rain. We need you on this. I want you to do something. I want to know what you're doing, and I want an email back from you today regarding this specific issue. And if you're, you don't want to give, it's not about emotion. It's just they need to hear the points, the PowerPoints, and they need to give you back your email, because guess what? When they give you back your email saying regarding the aluminum footprint SRMG on your email, that's evidence. That's for our litigation process, because they're acknowledging aluminum, SRMG, geoengineering. Okay, approach us like a litigator. Approach us like you're just collecting information. You don't have an opinion. We're building a case.
Yeah, it's almost like a deposition. Yeah.
So you don't have to get upset. It's them that needs to get upset now, and we're giving our legislators a chance to be a hero here. That's what we're hoping to create a context for them to go, oh my God, yeah, oh my God, they totally are doing this, dude. Give them a chance to come on back, because it's like they're breathers too.
Yeah.
Just because they're clueless, you know what? They want to be doing the right thing. Believe me, they want to be doing the right thing. They can't do it unless you help them know what the right thing is. Because again, these people are looking to stay elected. And the way they stay elected is either through their constituency or through the money. And so far, it looks like the money is the one that leads most of these people around. And is that their fault? No, it's not. That's a system. It's our fault, because we're not in there telling them what we want. You don't have to get mad and angry at them. You just need to be stern. You need to tell them how it is, like a teacher would talk to you. Your teacher loves you, but they're not going to let you get away with polluting the whole world. Sorry. It's not okay.
Yes, like we said before, there's no counterpoint entering into their office. It's all one-sided. It's all that of the lobbyists and the corporatocracy.
Yeah.
Selling them a whole bag of goods,
Exactly. It's all set up this way, Mike, and it's a very important, starting today. I mean, forget about what we've done before, but right now, if the door's open, we got the ball.
Yeah.
We got the green light. We got this in Congress. We have a unique opportunity to change the context of the outcome here and for the better for the planet. We can capitalize on that, but it's we got to jump on the ball. It's like there was just a fumble. We need to jump on that ball and start racing, and get in those offices and have them collecting the rain tests that we have, keep sending them in. We also created a site, a GoFundMe for the Civilian Action Team rain tests. So the idea was so that people, because it costs $125 to get the test. It's who can afford that? So it's so the idea is well, maybe we could just get this fund going and start shipping in and start getting some more of these rain tests around, this evidence, and get them at professional lab tests, because that's court admissible. There's lots of labs that do it. We were using the one that Patrick Roddy is using because, he's awesome and trust what he's recommends. So we going with McCampbell Analytical. That's McCampbell.com. And then the GoFundMe is Civilian Action Team Rain Tests by Jolie Diane. Yeah, if you have any trouble donating, let me know, because I've had a couple of people say, hey, we tried to go there and it didn't work. And I did try a couple other places that wouldn't let me collect money. So I am looking for other ways to do that. But I don't want the money. I just want people to be able to do the rain tests. And if we can collect a bunch of money to get the rain test done, that would just speed up our process a little bit, because I don't expect anyone to, unless they're able to spend the $125, I don't think anyone should do without food or, taking care of themselves. It's if all you can do, what you can do is contribute is take the 2 minutes a day, then thank you. That's all that we really need. We don't need your money. We just need 2 minutes of your time to get on the phone and use your voice. And that's what your representative is there for. They need to hear your voice.
Well, Jolie, send me all those links, and what I'll do is I'll put them into the show notes.
Okay, for
So,
sure.
right, so people have them. Now, we're just about out of time here. So, what I wanted to do is to ask you about any final thoughts that you have about what people can do to
Oh,
activate, to engage.
okay. Well, first of all, before I let you go, I want everyone to go get this book. It's called You Know Something is Wrong When dot 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 dot. An American Affidavit of Probable Cause. And this book is by Anna Maria Reitzinger and James Clinton Belcher, illustrated by Paul Allen Snober. Anyway, this book was written by Judge Anna of Alaska. And she pretty much has built this law case. She put a lien on the federal government, U.S. government. And this book is so important for Americans and everybody to read because basically it goes through the history of what has happened for us to lose our sovereignty and for this corporate structure to enslave us. And so this book is You Know Something is Wrong When dot dot dot, an American Affidavit of Probable Cause. I think everyone should look at that because that's a lot of part of what the platform of I'm running for president because I didn't like any of the candidates, and a lot part of the platform we're using is based on the principles that Judge Anna had provided in this to kind of explain to everybody why the system that we have now is illegitimate. And we cannot continue to collaborate with it. It's a terrorist, corrupt organization, and it's very bad. It's very dangerous. So yeah, please get that book and educate yourself. Keep educating yourself, and just know that there's a lot of people that feel the same way, and you're not alone. You are not alone. There's so many people that are putting their whole lives into this. And I was just talking to a friend this morning, and I said, you know what? I bet you it's not going to be long now, okay, when people are talking about geoengineering going, yeah, those geoengineers, can you believe they were putting that stuff in the sky, Can you believe how long it took everybody to figure that out? I can't believe it, those geoengineers. Good God, they have some nerve,
Right?
And I would like to see that. I think it's totally possible. And again, the public has been directed away from the term geoengineering. I'm not saying that, chemtrails is an accurate term. That is true. But if we want to nail them in a court of law, then we need to use the terminology.
Yeah, use their terms. Yeah.
Use their terms. Let's beat them by their own game.
Right.
So just keep on going and learn as much as you can about SRMG and all those programs, and then just keep, every little bit helps, and we can totally win this. I have no doubt in my mind.
Well, Jolie, like I said in the beginning of the show, I wanted to have you on the show because you are one of the hardest working anti-geoengineering folks that I know. You are relentless, and I think it's great. I really do.
Thank you so much, Mike.
So now, do you have a website or is it just your Facebook page? How can people reach you?
You can reach me on Facebook. I'm not going to put any money into the campaign. Jolie Diane for President 2016. Or you can go to my Facebook page, Jolie Diane. I don't accept any money for this. If you like the campaign, you want to stop geoengineering, you want to stop fracking, GMOs, all this stuff, we're just going to, just scratch the old system and bring in something that's, better for everybody. And so, just share the campaign if because when people are crying about, oh, we got to eat shit because it's Hillary, you can just be like, no, Jolie's over there with the sledgehammer. You know what? I'm going to be over there. I like Bernie too. I like a lot of things that he says and stuff, but it's the system that's broken. It's not a politician problem. It's a system problem.
Yeah. People talk to me about Bernie. I'm like, look, he's 7 years old. I said, you really think he's going to run the country? He's going to wake up in the morning. He's just going to be happy he woke up.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, look.
We got to just so.
Look, it was a great conversation, and I'm so glad that we connected. I want you to come back because one of the things we didn't get to cover that I do want to talk about is you're a fellow musician, and I do want to talk about your music. I have heard some of your songs, and they're excellent. You're very, very good. And maybe we can talk about that, and you can come back on and just give us another update on where you're at with all of your work.
Awesome.
Sound
Yeah,
good?
Mike, that sounds great. It has been such a pleasure, to get to be on your show and just talk with you. And yeah, I want to talk about all your guitars back there. Look at those things. It just looks like hours of fun.
Yeah, it is hours of fun. Yeah.
But yeah, just what a pleasure and great to be connected. And, yeah, let's just keep in touch and keep the ball rolling.
Okay. All right, Jolie. You have a great afternoon.
You too, Mike. You too. Talk to
Bye-bye
you
now.
soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And that concludes another Sage of Quay interview, and I hope you enjoyed the discussion as much as I did. Links to my guests' websites and social media are listed in the show notes below. And as always, I'd like to thank everyone for listening and visiting the blog. You can get to the blog by typing in sageofquayradio.blogspot.com or simply head over to our hub website at sageofquay.com. Also, if you get a moment, please visit laboroflovemusic.com to listen to my album, Leaving Dystopia. And remember, live in truth and always serve creation. It's really that simple. See everyone next week. Be safe, enjoy, and God bless.